right, so here we are on a beautiful quasi-warm Saturday here with Scott Marlin from Community Land Solutions. And I'll give Scott an opportunity to introduce himself here in a minute, but we're out here doing a boundary survey today with the Trimble R10. And Scott's doing some surveying for our family here, and I get to tag along and kind of be his helper today. So Scott, why don't you introduce yourself?
Well, I'm already introduced. So, Scott Marlin, I'm the owner of Community Land Solutions, and we focus on local government, but we also do boundary work for landowners in our area. So, this is a fun job today because we get to deal with the PLS work all around this section that we're in today, and do some cool things with the technology that Trimble has given us.
Okay, so a couple of things we did today, pretty standard for what you do in a day, I would assume. Find section corners. We got to play with jackhammer a little bit and tear up some roads, and that was fun. Scott let me run the jackhammer, which I thought was pretty cool. And then just basically split a parcel today. So I guess what else do you typically do in a day? Is it mostly boundary work? Is it
So it all depends on the day. So one of the things that I do, I'm Morrison County surveyor, and so with Morrison County we do a lot of PLS work. So we're working with section corners, digging them up quite a bit, which is, I mean, we're set up for that pretty well with our truck. But we also we'll do lot surveys. So I've got lot surveys coming up this week that just in residential areas. We'll be out in fields like this quite a bit, subdividing people's land. So this is one of the things that I've been really interested in, is working with the technology to do some field comps and be able to compute an acreage boundary while we're in the field, and be able to go ahead and set property corners without having to make additional trips out. So one of the things with that is just efficiency with time and being able to do your jobs faster.
Right. And that was one of the things we did earlier, right? We had our boundary of this parcel. We knew how many acres we wanted to split it into, right?
Right.
And then just using the area calculations in the Kogo menu, we had our parcel and we were staking within probably half an hour after we had everything figured out and ready to go. So I assume you see that as a benefit to not have to go to the office and do that in CAD or bring a computer with. That was kind of helpful to be able to do it on the fly.
Right. It is. So it's nice to be able to do field adjustments and be able to deal with that while you're here. So.
Okay. Well, let's talk about your gear a little bit. So today we used a TSC 7 and an R10 Model 2.
Right.
First thing I did when I got your receiver today was to make sure we had ProPoint enabled on it, which we did. And actually, our corner over here was quite a ways into the woods. The section corner, we were able to find it. How have you seen the performance with the R10 2? Do you get into the trees with it a lot? Or?
So yeah, we do, and that's one of the reasons that we went ahead and purchased that R10 2. So when we got started, we had an option to pick up some used equipment or look at new equipment. And one of the big things with going with the R10 was the ability to go into the woods to increase that accuracy and that repeatability of your locations. So it's been really nice for us. We've enjoyed using it. The TSC 7 it's nice with the larger screen on it, but you still have your keyboard, buttons, you still have your buttons, you have the touch screen. So when we're using TSC 7, we're not only using it for our survey, but we're also looking up, maybe we'll find a land surveyor's license number on one of the caps in the ground. So we'll look up that license number right there in the field on the screen,
because you have the Verizon built into it.
We have the Verizon built into it.
Right.
So it really helps us with our coding and being able to to bring the data back into TVC for cleanup, any cleanup we need before we go into civil.
Right. And that was another thing I guess I wanted to touch on is, having that Verizon, built right into the controller like that, and then obviously we're kind of spoiled here being able to utilize the Minnesota VRS network. But
Right.
How do you think that helps you in terms of, obviously you don't have to set up a base station, have the cost in it, but just time savings throughout the day, being able to use VRS?
It is a huge time savings for us. We're small. There's two of us right now that are teaming up out in the field, and we are spoiled. I love using the VRS and
Sure.
not having to do your local setups and stuff. So and having the Verizon built in has been super nice for us.
Good. And I noticed you had a robot in there. Just curious, do you get a chance to use it very often? The case looked pretty clean.
The case is pretty clean. Yeah, mostly when we're using that robot is when we're doing topo, for on a lake property, riverfront property, something like that, where we want a little higher accuracy with our elevation shots. So we'll do our setups there. We recently had one on the Mississippi River that the client bought the property for the property, not for the home that was on the property. They were going to tear that down, build back on the same location. So we had to go in, we topoed the site ahead of time, including all the trees, everything. And it's about a 2.5 acre site on the Mississippi. So we topo everything, we shoot up the house, we get the heights, and then they're going to do a demolition on the house and then build it back up. So we need to make sure that their floor base flood elevations are all the same as they were.
Flooding from
And the height of the roof of the house was a little bit higher than what local ordinance allowed, but
Okay.
since it was there, then local ordinance, they could build up to that height again. So that was one of the things that we wanted to
Oh,
make
you
sure
need an
that we
accurate
captured.
elevation on the peak of the building.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. So, it's in cases like that. That's where we're using it, and it's more on those in-town
Gotcha.
topographic surveys. So, yeah, it's nice to be able to use the VRS out here, and then we use the total station when we're in town,
Okay.
and it just switches from one to the other. So with the TSC7, so we don't have to worry
Seamless.
about it.
Perfect.
We just keep working on the fly.
All right. Well, I think that's all I have for you again. Getting chilly out here.
It is getting
Have to put
chilly
a
out
sweatshirt
here.
on.
It hadn't been like that all day.
No, it
though,
was sunny
so
out.
I like it.
But thanks for letting me tag along today.
Yeah.
Thanks for doing the survey for us too.
Yeah.
That's
it's my
gonna help.
pleasure. It's my pleasure.
And I guess we'll wrap it up there. And just wanted to give everybody kind of a taste of what it's like out in the field every once in a while here in Minnesota in April.
Yeah.
It's probably warmer than it usually is, but
It's nice and dry right now.
that's right. So thanks
everyone
everybody.
stay healthy.
Yep, thank you.